Yo, JD here, Limitless, and we are back on F1 2021 as always. And today we are showing another 25% race, this time at the Circuit of the Americas. A track that I've actually grown to really like, especially by doing quite a lot of online lobbies on this game and doing my recent time trial, which I'm using that exact setup in this video, and you'll be able to see it works incredibly well. So make sure you sit back, enjoy this one. As always, we're not going to cut anything from this gameplay. This is going to be the full race, so no cutscenes or anything whatsoever. Going to be starting last with the custom grid. Try to put all the fast people at the back, but you will be able to see there is always a few quick people who slip through the net and end up starting a little bit higher than they should. So just taking it nice and easy going into turn one. And this track, which I will talk about soon as I am running into the back of MBSFN, a regular in my lobby. We've already made up 3 positions another 2 positions there, because it is always people just have no patience when racing online. They just cause absolute carnage. You can see just that guy ahead of us, Rusty, who we raced with at Baku, giving nice, respectful racing room there. We're up into P14 already. You can see there's a couple of guys who have already broken away in the lead, and we have started on the medium tyres, which, as we almost ran into the back of that guy there, but these tyres literally feel like ice, the medium tyres. I remember last game when I did TSRL around here, the softs are just so powerful on the alternate strategy. So that's what I was really going to test today, to see if that was the case. But so far it definitely feels like it's going to be that way, because these tyres, you can't even go flat out through this right-hander because it's so easy to use the car, and you'll be able to see quite a few people fall victim to that during this race. So you can see there's a whole cluster of cars here. Quite a few people start on mediums as well, trying to do the alternate strategy, as Jeff is telling me I'm in the top 10, which is good to know. I'm gonna maybe go for a little cheeky dive bomb down here. Was just enough room, just giving a little bit of a love tap, managing to get through that nicely. Can we go round the outside to get the inside through these sequence corners? We're leaving room on the inside, so just trying to be as fair as possible. I always try and keep it clean with other people as much as I can, unless they fully take the mick, but quite usually I always just try and give respectful racing room, and we get that move done up into P8 now. But yeah, around this track, as I was saying, the mediums just feel like they're a block of ice. There's literally no grip. But then when you go on the softs, you go about 2 seconds a lap faster, especially with fresh softs. I think on last game, as I was saying in TSRL, I made up about a 10-12 second gap in the final stint. It is just incredibly powerful. But you can see the leaders are taking advantage of this. I believe they are on the softs, and you can see the lead that they have got already. But last game we had 50%. If you were within 10 seconds of the lead, then you actually had a very good chance of winning the race. So that's how powerful these soft tyres are in the latter part of the race if you put them on fresh. So we're just going to try and do that. As you can see, a 32.7 by OCD Red, who is another regular in one of my lobbies, and he's a pretty fast driver as well. So I know we'll have to try and get a move on here, because if we don't, then we're just going to be losing too much time. We're up behind my teammate, who again is another very fast driver. Fab Ferrari, again another fast driver. So there's always an abundance of talent in these lobbies here. But I'm just going to try and navigate through this as efficiently as I can, so that my teammate is trying to get past the guy up ahead of him. I think it is Venom. So we're just going to allow him to have this corner. Try and hook the car at the inside up into the 5th gear. Normally a short strip through there as we get a track limit warning. So that was just a very careless mistake there. Another 2 of those and it will be a 3-second time penalty. But so far the progress has been good, but we definitely need to put a little bit more pressure on these guys and try and get these moves done. So going to start to be a little bit more aggressive here, as Venom, who's on the softs, he has a flashing red light, so he's depleted almost all of his ERS already. Was thinking about going down the inside there, but I felt like that exit would quickly close, so being a bit more aggressive, we're going to go down the inside here. Just about left enough room. That's actually compromised his exit. Coming through into here, my teammate has fallen victim to what I was talking about, and I think he's on the softs as well. There's just no grip around this track. It really is a low grip surface. We'll think about going down the inside of Fab there, but decided to let him have this corner, trying to get a better exit. Let's see if we can go down the inside now. So we do go down the inside, just rubbing shoulders just a little bit. The guy in the softs has gone off the track, Venom, a little bit. Can we try and get the inside? His red light is flashing, so we should be able to do it, but are we going to do it? No, we let him have this corner. So just playing a little bit safer. Now that's my second warning, so 2 warnings in the space of less than a lap. So 1 more and I get a 3-second time penalty. If we want a chance to win this race, then with a 3-second time penalty, it's going to be very, very hard. You can see the gap the leader has got. There's an absolutely massive gap right now. So we should be able to get past this Haas pretty easily. He's under 10%, so he really has depleted a lot of his battery power. Actually going defensive, which fair play for trying, but you can see on the straight how much time he is losing. So we got that move done, and now we're up into P5, and just going a little bit deep into this corner. You can see we've got a couple of soft runners up ahead. You can see the leader again. It's already going around that flat out right, so he is so far up the road right now. We really need to start delivering some pace if we have it. But we're going to keep an eye on these gaps up ahead. 3 seconds and just under 5 seconds to Saints. So we're going to put the power down. Let's see what we can do now. Let's go try and get out of this DRS zone of Fab Ferrari, because
check your MFD for a new strategy option.
As Jeff is telling me, check my MFD, but I know what strategy I'm going to do. I'm going to go on the softs for my pit stop, but I just really want to try and get out the DRS zone of Fab, because I just don't want to be using any unnecessary ERS to defend with. So I want to try and keep as much of the battery power as possible, so when I come out on softs I can come out all guns blazing. But you can see out of that traffic we are 6 tenths up on our time already, so doing very, very well. And it looks like Fab is going to be just outside. I think it's the famous 1,000th of a second, which usually always happens to me. It's nice that it's actually happened to someone else, because I don't think he actually got the DRS. So if you look at the delta, don't know if he's going to be gaining any time. I don't think he's really gaining much time at all. He might have actually just got it, in fact, because he was gaining quite quick. So quite fortunate for him. Usually for me, I wouldn't have got the DRS if it said 1,000th here. But you can see, I think we are making slight inroads on the leader. So the softs seemingly to be going off relatively quickly here. Now I want to get into the DRS zone of Ski Man 112, if I could even do it here, but the detection point is actually quite well before the home straight, so it'd be good if it was here, because we would have got the detection point now. And I think Fab might have still maintained in the DRS again.
You'll be on the softs.
As Jeff is telling me, I'm coming towards the pit window, so really useful information. We're coming through it here. I don't want to catch him too quickly in this section. I want to catch him enough as we almost lose the car, so the grip is still very low on these tyres. But I want to overtake him without really using any of the ERS, but he looks like he is really struggling right now, so he's going to be holding us up a little bit. Want to make sure I'm still out of the DRS zone of Fab, so I was really hoping he would have to hurry up just a little bit, just so we could get out of this DRS zone. But it looks like Fab is still going to be within, but he is about 9 tenths behind, so he shouldn't be posing much of a threat. Trying to get a good exit. Setup was feeling very good. Actually having the high tyre pressures helps generate a little bit more heat into the tyre as we're making it move down the straight, and not really having to use much of the battery power as he thinks about going down the inside, which was interesting. It seems to be online.
It is 2.1 seconds.
it seems to be online that people just don't like to be overtaken, as he's still going down the inside again, which I don't know why. Don't see the point in why he's trying to do that. Just people just have a hard time being overtaken, as Jeff kept on speaking there, but she keeps on talking at the worst points. But we're going to try and catch this group up ahead at the DRS zone again, as you're about to see the leader OCD Red has come into the pits now. So he's going to try and go for a little bit of an undercut, but he did have a very big lead, so it's still going to be a very tough ask to close him down, because I know he actually has some decent pace. But right now I'm going to try and gain this 6/10 in this first sector, which is going to be a bit of a hard ask. Let's see if we can do that before the detection point. And you can see we've actually gained half a second in about 2 corners, which is pretty crazy. So it looks like the softs are going off pretty quickly now. We're comfortably within this DRS on. We gained about a second in the sequence of only a few corners, so we're going to get the DRS here. I don't know if we're going to be able to do the overtake, because Saints has the DRS on the car up ahead, but it looks like we are going to maybe think about it, but decided to turn off our overtake. So you can see our delta, we are still gaining lap time on my fastest lap, so this wasn't too bad, as we almost lost the car there, so very close to complete ending our races. We actually do a purple middle sector, as this MFD with the tyres, as we go down the inside here. Is he going to leave us room? Yes, he does leave us room, but he's able to get the traction on the exit. Can we try and get on the inside? Because you can see the grip through this corner is just completely washing away, and that is actually a very challenging corner now in the race itself, as Jake Scott now pits. I believe all these guys are going to pit, and I decided to stay up because I'm actually going to get the benefit of the DRS almost matching my fastest lap here. So it's very crucial that we get a good in lap now. And yeah, as I was saying, it's a very challenging corner. Long right now is really difficult in this game. You really need a stable car, but you can see OCD is 7.7 seconds behind. Let's see what's going to be at the end of this lap. So I'm going to be pushing quite hard now. You can see his first sector was almost my best, in fact, upshifting through 5th gear just to maximize the traction and the stability, as I'm now going to go into the pits at the end of this lap. So it'll be interesting to see what this gap is going to be. Typically a pit stop is around about 19 seconds or so, 18 to 19 seconds, so he's probably going to come out about 10 seconds or more ahead, which is going to be a pretty substantial gap. I'm going to have to be lapping almost 2 seconds a lap faster than him per lap, and his mediums are only about 1 lap old, so we're pushing very hard on this in lap here. You can see we're only about a 10th down on our fastest lap, so the mediums do seem to be quite a durable and consistent tyre, and they definitely seem to be a little bit better than they were on the last game. We're now coming through into here. This corner really difficult, but as the black box passes, that's your turning in point. Coming into this very awkward pit lane, so easy to spin coming into here, but we managed to spot the breaking point nicely, and now we're going to put on the softs. We only lost about half a second that lap, so not really too bad. So he hasn't really gained any such of an undercut. As you can see, he's already gone past us. He's about to go through turn 1, and we're going to see what this gap is. Hopefully we can get out of the cars behind, do a little bit of an overcut, and it looks like we have done exactly that. We've actually done a fairly big overcut on Jake Scott, and Fab Ferrari, even though he was on the softs, I think he might have had a little bit of an issue, because I've actually gone out a little bit further ahead of him. So the gap is 10.8 seconds now. We're going to stay on board for the rest of this race to see if we can do the almost impossible of clawing back over a 10-second deficit to, as I say as well, OCD Red is a good driver. He's definitely got some good pace. Seen him on the leaderboards and just racing with him firsthand. So I knew if I was able to close in the gap like this, then that definitely shows that the setup and the pace is very strong around this track here. And you can already see we've gained about 1 second already. I've only just gone halfway through the lap itself, as Jeff has given me a little bit of encouragement, as he just doesn't shut up. he just speaks at the worst times, I swear, as you do a purple middle sector. So the gap is still, we only just gained about a second so far. Let's see what it's going to be at the end of this lap. The gap to Fab Ferrari is 4.2 seconds, and MBSFN, is about 5 seconds. So it'll be interesting to see what that gap is by having a lap fresher soft at the end of the race. To come across the line, do purple last sector. The gap is 9 seconds now, so we gained almost 2 seconds on that lap. As Fab Ferrari does a 32.4. But as I always say, I'm not really going to go for the fastest lap here, although I'll end up doing it, most likely. I'm not really focused on just trying to get the fastest lap possible. I'm focused on being as fast as possible for the remaining 4 to 5 laps. So I'm not going to just use all my ERS. I always think about the laps ahead. As Jeff is just telling me how many laps of fuel I got remaining. It's just very annoying when he actually talks, but as I said, I'd rather be quick on the last 3 laps by 3 or 4 tenths that lap than gain like 6 to 7 tenths in one lap and then be served for the rest. So it's all about knowing when to use the battery power. You can see we've still got quite a lot in reserve. Didn't really use too much going down that straight. Could cut that corner a little bit more because it doesn't really give you a warning if you do. See, we don't do a purple middle sector like we did on the last lap, where we use a little bit more of the battery power. But you can see the gap was about 9 seconds at the start of this lap, and it's coming down. We're closing in over 2 seconds a lap, and the gap to Fab Ferrari is 5.2, and MBSFN it's gone up to almost 7 seconds. So we're putting away quite quickly from the guys behind, who I know are fast, and also catching the guy ahead by over 2 seconds of that. We're 31.6 now. Well, we could have gone even faster than that. We could have gone quite a bit faster. I think we could have done a very low 31 or maybe even a high 30 if we were pushing absolutely flat out. But we want to keep something in reserve just in case my tyres go off and I need to use a little bit more ERS than necessary. But right now we are driving very well, hooking up these corners very, very nicely, as Rusty does respond with a 31.4. So as I said, he's very, very fast and puts in a very good lap time there. But we're just going to try and do as consistent lap time as possible. Just try not to go out of the 31s or very low 32. So that's really the aim. You can see we're using a little bit more of the battery power than we did the last lap here. And the gap is now 5 seconds. The gap behind is going up to 6 seconds. So we definitely cut the corner a little bit more this time. That's more like how you want to do it. And you can see the gap is only 3 tenths down from our fastest lap. So pumping in some very, very good times right now. And as I said, the setup was working very, very well. And this just shows how OP and powerful the alternate strategy is around USA. On last game, I think it was absolutely insane of how powerful. You really didn't want to start on softs, to be honest. You wanted to start P11 on a medium tyre or a hard tyre. You just never wanted to start on the softs because they would usually deteriorate quite quickly, and then once you go into the mediums, the difference between the end of a race of not only a fresh soft but going a fresh soft going against a set of mediums which have done already a few laps already, it's just going to be absolutely crazy. You can see that gap again has come down about a second in this first sector alone, and we are, as Jeff again just telling me how many laps of fuel I got remaining, which is great considering I can't change the fuel. So that's one factor you never really have to worry about on this game. I pretty much always put my fuel as about 1 lap, just in case for some reason you were going to go a bit lower on the fuel. You don't really lose that much lap time in terms of performance, but we're just going to have to focus on just closing that gap down now, just managing our ERS just to make sure we have enough in case his tyres, there's that crossover point that happens usually, but I was hoping it wouldn't be happening before the end of this race. And you can already see again, close in about 2 seconds, gained about 7 tenths on Fab Ferrari behind, and right now we are driving very, very well. Just very consistent, and very controlled, not pushing too hard where we can lose the car, and we can't afford to get another track limit warning as well, since we are already on 2. You can see the gap is now 2.7 seconds. So we're gaining about almost 2 seconds a lap, and the pace is still looking very good. So let's see if we can get it under 2 seconds for this detection point. I think we will be able to do it, and you can already see as the MFD annoyingly keeps popping up when the tyres hit about 20%. I think, yeah, we are under 2 seconds out for this detection point. So last lap is going to be looking pretty good to get in this DRS zone, and I honestly couldn't believe how fast these tyres were. And I just felt like this pace was just very, 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 very strong. And all we have to do now is just get within the DRS zone on the last lap. We still have over 20% of the ERS to play with as well. So it'd be interesting to see if his red light is flashing once we get onto the back of him. Let's see how hard he has been pushing, as he is coming up behind a ghost car, which is probably not going to be doing him too many favours, as we pulled out about another 7 tenths. So about 7 tenths a lap we're pulling on Fab Ferrari behind here, as we might actually get the DRS from this guy as well. So that's very useful. So we're going to have an extra boost of power, so we don't have to use anything here. The gap is 1.4 seconds. We're going to use it.
Final lap of the race.
As Jeff's telling me, we've got the final lap of the race. We've done a 32.5. So keeping it within a second, almost within a second of our fastest lap. So that's a pretty good going after doing more than 5 laps on these tyres here.
1 lap of fuel remaining.
As Jeff is telling me again, we've only got 1 lap of fuel, which is just incredibly annoying. But now we're coming up to the detection point. I think we're comfortably going to be within a second, but we do still need to gain a little bit more time, just in case he has the ERS to play with. So we are half a second behind. Now we're in the detection point, and let's see what kind of traction, and let's see if he has any answer. You can just see how much more apex speed we are carrying through here. So now we're using the overtake bar. His red light is flashing already, so we do have well over 20% more ERS than him. There's absolutely nothing he can do here, and the pace that we've just shown here has been really, really strong.
Nice overtake.
Jeff is just hyping me up there, but honestly, I did not think by the gap that he had, it was going to be possible to close down that gap. I really did not think that, and you can see the gap we've actually pulled to the guys behind as well. I just felt like the setup was just working so well, and we were just driving just super, super consistent, making sure we didn't pick up another track limit warning as well, because we wouldn't have won that race if we were going to be doing that. As we cross the line, we do the comeback of over 10 seconds, and that just felt like a very, very nice race. I really hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you so much for your support on the channel. We'll be doing a live stream tomorrow for BRS Round 2 League Racing at 7:30 tomorrow night, Saturday. And also, if you are a YouTube member, you will be able to get a link down below to my Discord. It's for members only, so it's only if you're a member you'll get access to all the channels, where you'll get to speak to me daily, get first privilege invites to lobbies, which I will be doing on PC next week, and many more other benefits. So thank you to everyone who has joined us so far as well. Thank you for the support. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you soon. Peace.